Hi, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome to Shifting Perspectives. I am definitely mellow today, and I kind of want to do just like a sit, have coffee, contemplate. I don't even remember what the name of this video is. I am looking now, like, what is this video called that I'm doing? Because I cannot remember. The mattering of words. That's right. I see this a lot from people where they will say something and we'll discuss the articulation of the words, and the concept of semantics comes up. No, semantics, well, semantics is the detailing and usage of a word, but a word's definition is completely built on the integrity of what it means. Words have integrity. Words have integrity. I don't know how many words I've written in my lifetime. Millions of words. And I remember sitting down with my editors and my beta readers. My beta readers were attorneys. They went legalese on my book. They ripped it apart and they showed me the illogic of some of the words I was using. They showed me the importance of words. If you are a writer and you ever want to look up a beta reader, have an attorney beta read. Attorneys know words. Oh, do they? Words are an articulated art form. But the definition is they have a meaning. And when we give them meaning, we're actually assigning feelings to them. So it matters. It really matters. And one of my favorite words that has been misused is the word respect. Now there's respect and then there's due respect. And when I looked at due respect, I went, oh, that's a whole lot of fourth perspective manipulation. There's a lot of feedback I've gotten from people telling me that I need to be respectful, specifically when I'm referring to second, thirds, and fourth perspectives. The problem is I don't respect those people. And the reason why is because they are adults who have chosen to not grow when they have a lot of work and growing to do. I don't admire that. I don't respect that. And because they have chosen to not grow in a mindset where they really need to be growing, they're causing a lot of hurt to a lot of people. My people, you, the universe. And everyone knows it. The abusers know they're being abused. The abusers know they're being abused. Because when the abusers realize they're doing the abusing, they do one of two things. Either they're happy about it because they're feeling control, they're using you to get the feelings they want, or they lie to themselves because they know what they're doing and they have guilt. So instead of changing it, they lie. There is zero accountability in second, third, and fourth perspectives. None. That is not a lesson you learn until you get to the fifth perspective. And because they're not learning the lesson of accountability, they're hurting a lot of people. Now, fifth perspectives, sixth perspectives might still hurt people. I am sure seventh perspectives also hurt people. Eighths, ninths, I'm sure we do. But we're accountable for it because we've learned the value of accountability. That's the difference. That is all the difference. And it's the one thing that I noticed a lot of people say to me when they comment. I did this to this person. I said this to this person. And they weren't even accountable. No, they're a third perspective. They haven't learned accountability yet. Your expectations of your abusers is too high. I'm going to let that sink in with you. Your expectations of your abusers is too high. I'm going to try something. I wonder if I can do this. Will YouTube? I need to learn. Oh, this is awesome. So I'm going to do something. I'm learning how to use YouTube. Oh, look at that. I can. I can edit this video like in the comments while I'm recording it. So I'm going to try writing out the highlights of this video, which is weird because it's happening in common time and in present time at the same time, or common time, present time, and past time at the same time. This is why time does not exist. Your expectations of your abusers is too high. Literally, lower your standards where your abusers are concerned. You know what? We're going to do this from now on. I love this. I did not know I can do this. Okay, so when I started my business, I had everyone going, get on Facebook, get on Facebook, get on Facebook. Now, kudos to Facebook. Like, love you, support you. You're great. That being said, it is not my vibe. It is not my vibe. And I really struggle with it. Every time I go on and I post anything on Facebook, it hurts me. It's just like, ugh. And I really struggle because it's not a video platform and that's all I do. So all I can really do is go over to Facebook and be like, guys, I'm on YouTube. Go over there. But the people who are on Facebook don't watch YouTube, don't like YouTube. That's not their medium. So I've got a lot of followers over on Facebook and I'm going, I am going to be pulling the plug on my Facebook accounts. I am going to be, unless somebody comes in, like if I don't, I'm either going to hire someone to come in and take it over for me, or I'm going to pull the plug. And I haven't figured out which yet because it does not give me joy. Facebook does not give me joy. I go onto Facebook and I want to see friends. I want to create events. And I don't even want to do that anymore. Facebook does not give me joy. And acknowledging what gives us joy and what doesn't, and then cutting out the things that don't, it's self-honesty. Self-honesty is a major part of it. But getting back to the expectations of your abusers, we expect way too much of our abusers. Lower your standards. And I'm going to be very honest with you. That is one of the saving graces that got me through my trauma. That is my saving grace, was when I realized that my abusers, all of them, no matter what their age was, when I realized that they were uneducated, that they were lacking of ethics. That's a big one. When they were lacking of the same ethics as I realized right then and there, okay, I need to treat abusers like children. Now, don't be condescending because that's going to trigger them. Yeah, I'm going to do it. How to handle an abuser. How to handle an abuser. And that's it really, is, oh, this system is working out fantastic for me. I think I finally figured out my style so I can like talk and then keep notes and not lose things. How to handle an abuser is keeping your expectations in check. Absolutely keeping your expectations in check. And being realistic. There you go. Being realistic about what you are actually dealing with. And that's huge. That is huge. We're not realistic. And this is where trauma happens. I was analyzing something yesterday. I'm missing a T. I was analyzing something yesterday, and what came up was a realization that the whole thing comes down to closure. That's it. It's closure. We need to really sit down and examine closure and take a closer look into it. I see here. Like I said, I need a scribe. A closer look into closure. So this is what I'm noticing with closure. Is a lot of people go in and they, with anything, have a good day. Just a minute. Have a good day at school. Love you. Bye. First day of school for us. It's on a Thursday. Usually they start on a Wednesday. So whenever we process something, there's a beginning and an end to the processing. And closure is common talk for, I need to conclude this perspective. There, that's all we're trying to do. That is closure. You're trying to conclude the perspective. Yeah, it's trying to conclude the perspective change, and you can't. And that's the problem, is it keeps you in this loop, and it's horrible. Now, if it's a good thing, it's never a good thing. The only time we don't get closure is when we are suffering from a significant loss or failing to understand a situation. And that's it. That is it. So you'll be sitting there doing your thing. You'll lose something, grief, death of a family member, a breakup. And if there is inconsistency, you cannot process. Inconsistency destroys the processing. Illogic destroys the processing of our cognitive core. Like, this is such a huge part. It was this massive happy joy place for me when I got to this particular part of my realization, when I realized that this whole thing comes down to logic. Our minds are so logical. We are so logical on such a basic level that if something is not logical, when things go down, they won't go down. We cannot put something to bed until we understand it. Understanding is seeing the logic in it. So what you have with an abuser and what you have with grief, whenever you touch this gorgeous cognitive core, this processing unit in your head, you are tackling with a lot. You are tampering with a lot. I'm still trying to figure out my services. I'm still trying to figure out a lot with me. There's what I want to do. There's what I have to do now to survive. And I don't want to do that. And maybe I don't have to. Maybe I don't have to. So I want to say, I really love my Pack a Punches. My Pack a Punches are a course that I put together, and it's a one-day course. So it sounds real fun for me. I'm all over this. Pack a Punch is basically me talking in depth on a very specific focused, it's a hyper-focused topic. And I dig it all out. It's just sitting down and really digging it out and analyzing it. And the goal of these Pack a Punches is to get you closure. The closure is everything. There are some people who need awareness. Read my book, Broken. That'll get you awareness. Because when you look at it and you compare what I've been through to what you've been through, a lot of people come back saying, oh my God, it's almost the same. Yeah, it's common. What you experience in your trauma is common. They don't want you to tell everybody because what they're doing to you is wrong. And they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want you to keep it a secret because it's unusual. Everyone's doing it. Everyone knows about it. Everyone's been through the same story. Horrific. Rated R level. You guys don't know. You're not therapists. You don't know. And because you're not talking, because your secret keepers all told you. Okay, so we're going to do like a little trauma circle. This is horrible, but we're going to do it. No triggers here. No triggers here. I hope not, anyway. I'm not going to be getting into anything graphic. Let me put it to you that way. We're going to call this a trauma circle, where I'm going to sit down with you and share you information that you don't know about. But every therapist does, because we hear it. I cannot tell you how many people walk up to me, strangers, and within a few minutes, they're telling me their traumatic life stories. It's why I can't be accessible. It's because they are so desperate to be understood that they trauma dump. That's what we're doing when we trauma dump. We want to be understood. When we vent, we want to be understood, but we don't know how. I do want to teach classes on communicating effective communication. I want this. I feel it. This feels good to me. Effective communication is in. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. Effective communication is definitely on my agenda. Because every time I talk about it or think about it, it feels so good. And maybe that's all shifting perspectives is explaining effective communication. So when you're secret keeper, when you are assigned the role of secret keeper from your abuser, they're giving you that role because they don't want to be held accountable, because they don't know what accountability is. They haven't learned that lesson. They won't be accountable. They haven't internalized accountability. So they are going to want to make sure that no one knows about what they're doing to you, what they've done. So they're going to lie, they're going to manipulate, and they're going to make sure you have no voice with which to speak. Now, in addition to all of that, flipping this around, in your perspective, you might think you're alone. You might think that your unique cocktail of abuse is unheard of because it is so horrific. And this is the sad truth of it. No, it's not. The reason why it's so horrific to you is because, one, it is horrific. Two, because you are that good of a person. I love Time magazine. I love Life magazine. And yesterday I was doing me time and I was looking through my magazines, and I have 100 photographs that changed the world. Now, I don't know why I picked up this magazine. I opened it up, and the very first thing I saw was Jacksonville, Mississippi, during the 1960s, when those students were sitting at the bar in the ice cream shop, refusing to stand, refusing to move from those seats. And these white, racist assholes were dumping food on those people. And I just went, perspective abuse. Look at all of those third perspectives abusing all of those sixth perspectives. Look at all of those third perspectives with no accountability, with no human decency, assaulting and attacking sixth perspectives, because sixth perspectives have a different ethic. That's the truth of it, sixth perspectives. Seventh, eighth, ninth. We are abused because we have a different ethic. Ethic abuse. Ethical abuse. Those are the words. Say it. Ethical abuse. We endure significant amount of abuse because our ethics are different. There is a common belief. The majority of people have not studied philosophy. The study of philosophy encompasses a lot of areas. Life. It's just life. It's life. It's all of it. It's the words we use. It's the reasons we're here. It's who we are. It's what makes up matter. It's logic. It's reasoning. It's fact. It's opinion. It's ethics. It's morals. It's religion. It's politics. It's society. Philosophy encompasses all the subjects in one. Philosophy literally brings them all together. So you can study math all you want. Philosophy will show you how math is connected to everything else. You can study physics all you want. And philosophy will show you how physics connects to everything else. You can study English literature and theater all you want. And philosophy will show you how it's connected to everything else. It's why it is imperative that we study philosophy, so we understand relationships to everything. But we don't. An ethic is a personal law. Politics reflects our ethics. To say to a person, you cannot study politics or you do not know politics because you're X, is saying you can't have ethics because you're X. That's right. It's ridiculous. Ethics are not for us to possess. And there is a common belief out there that there is only one ethic, and that is it. And there are people who will force their ethics onto others. So I'm looking at this photograph last night, and I just saw a bunch of 6 perspectives taking a stand for their own ethics, that Black people should be equal to white people, that all people are equal and the same. And the third perspectives didn't like that. So the third perspectives assaulted them. Almost every photograph I looked at was an example of perspective abuse. Black people who walked through a white area and needed to learn a lesson. People using people as property, people using people as weapons, people using people to empower themselves, people using people to feel control, people using people to feel whole, people using people. Everyone's being needed and everyone is needing and no one is loving. Yeah, I left that fucking rat race. So I'm building my own society. And it's being built off of 7th, 8th, and 9th because, well, we are a people without a place, aren't we? So I'm giving us a place because I'm tired of it. So back to our trauma circle. I remember the first time I sat down in a group and I listened to the traumas of other people. I was 15, 14. And I listened to this one girl describe in detail her rapes. It was horrific. And very similar to mine. And then I started having other people come up to me. My whole life has been people telling me. And I take in all of these traumas from people and I listen to what they have to say, and their stories, it's just variations of the same level of horror. They don't want you to talk about your trauma because they don't want to be held accountable. When you talk about their trauma, when you break your silence, you're holding them accountable. And when you do that, you realize you're not alone. You realize your story is a lot like everybody else's. In our abuse, we are not unique. In our identities, we are unique, but our abuse is all the same. So this is going to be a really ugly truth for a lot of us. We talk about how horrible things used to be back in the dark ages. No, no, no. Nothing has changed. The dark ages is just now behind closed doors. The horrors that you read about in the dark ages, the lack of order and chaos and abuse is still 100% there. Nothing has changed. People just hide it now. That's the difference. That is what sociology taught me. That all the abuse we think we overcame, we didn't overcome. We just put it behind closed doors. We locked it in closets. We put it under the bed, and we decided not to talk about it. We avoided it and we denied it. That's what we did. So there's a lot of people living in secret, being abused, not realizing that what they're living is very normal, as far as a lot of people are living like that with the same level of horror. I can't, it's ironic to me how many people start off almost every one of their stories the same. It's horrible. Yes. No one's ever been through it like I have. I believe that. Oh, I believe that. And then they open up and they tell me the same story because their abuser has them convinced that they're alone. And that's the lie. They're not alone. They're not alone. None of us are alone. We think we're alone so we can be hoarded for somebody else's needs. But we're not alone. I get a lot of people saying to me, oh my God, you can talk about your past. You can talk about your abuse. First of all, it was not easy. And second of all, getting to this point took work. Don't compare your stage levels 1, 2, and 3 to my level 70 of healing. I have level 1, 2, and 3 recorded from 2014. You can go back and look at me. Compare me then to you now. Don't compare this. This took work, and you can do it too. A lot of people think, oh, I can't do what you're doing. Well, I'm a level 70 when it comes to healing. You're a level 2. Don't compare 2 to 70. Compare your 2 to my 2. So it's this, when you open up, you're terrified you're going to be called crazy because your abuser calls you crazy. And that's really, really the crux of it. It's the crazy. We're told we're crazy. We're told insane by the people who are abusing us. So no one will believe us when we talk about the abuse because they don't want to be held accountable. In 2015, when I got out of the ER, my father came over. He was watching the children while I was in the hospital. And I finally opened up and I said to my father, you know those 6 months that I lived with my ex? And he goes, yeah, I was raped the whole time. He goes, oh, I know it. You knew. He goes, I suspected it. You knew. And he did nothing. When I told him about some of the abuse, no one was surprised about any of it. Everybody knew it. That's the real delusion. They know what they're doing to you. They know. They're not accountable. So lower your expectations of your abusers. And I mean, drop your standards on what you can expect from your abusers. They are consciously aware of what they are doing, and they are prioritizing their feeling good and in control more than they prioritize you, because they use people. Get away from them. Find your own community. They're out there. They are everywhere. That's the other lie that we have, that they have us believing, is that there is no other community. Yes, there is. I collect them and I make these communities. I was surprised when I found the communities. I was floored at it. I was like, oh my God, look at all these people. I had no idea there were people like me. And then when you get to the 7th perspective, you're still sitting there going, oh my God, I'm so alone. And in the 8th perspective, you think you're alone. In the 9th perspective, you can see everybody who's like you. And you suddenly realize you were never alone. The communities are there. We're all wandering the world trying to find each other. All these 9th and 8th and 7th perspectives. All of these 6th perspectives with ethics like yours. And when you realize that you're meant to go to those communities and tell the story of how you were abused just as much as they were, and you start comparing stories to realize you were never alone. You were enslaved. That's the real bitter pill to swallow. Perspective enslavement is rampant in this country. It is everywhere. Being enslaved by your own perspective on purpose so you will stay with a community that is not yours just so they can abuse you. It's as if the 3rd perspectives said, let's use psychological formulas to keep the 6th and 7th perspectives in place because they're weak. And then let's abuse them and make them realize and think that they can't leave and that they are alone and that we are the only ship in the sea. So they'll never think to escape. What a great way to keep a slave enslaved, by taking away all other possible choices. And they do. And you are raised in this enslavement. You are raised in this lifestyle where this is the way it is. This is how it is. You're alone. Your abuse is horrific and unique, and everyone calls you crazy. And there is nowhere else for you to go because you need money to survive in this society. No, you don't. No, you don't. You just don't know how, but no, you don't. I teach you how. You don't need money to survive in this society. That is a bullshit lie. They tell you to keep you locked in. I backpacked through Manhattan for a year. I was doing Manhattan on less than $50, sometimes less. And I had people going, how can you be in Manhattan without thousands of dollars? That's what they want you to believe. There is some people who buy RVs, used, beaten down RVs. They park them on the streets and they live in them. Now they're living in Manhattan in an RV on the street, just fine. And they're paying almost nothing. In some cases, the RVs were given to them. Because when you give to people, when you return to a bartering system, oh my God. When you go back to a bartering system where you exchange skill trade for skill trade, money doesn't need to exist. But you have to know your resources, you have to know your worth, and you have to know your value. And ironically, that's what all the abusers keep from you. Your resources, your value. I really love talking about living outside of the rat race. Like free living, I guess I would call it. Free societal living, where you only live on a barter system. It's Burning Man all over again. And that's really it. It's free societal living. And that's what's over here. And then you look at it and you go, wow, you don't really need money. Interesting. And you don't. It feels so whole and so complete and so solid. It really feels good. I want to teach effective communication and free societal living. Those are two of the things I definitely want to teach. I just got to figure out. No, I think the best way to deliver is in casual coffee lounge talks. I think that's the best classroom setting for me is meet me over at Zoom, bring your weed, bring your wine, bring your coffee or your tea, and we're just going to chill and talk. I think that's going to be the best. I've been studying teaching techniques and teaching skills, and oh my God, I love the millennials. Oh, their brains are so beautiful. Oh, I have a millennial brain. I learn the same way. If you are ADHD, millennial, Gen Z, it's all the same style of learning. It's fifth perspective learning. And when I started, I was very fourth perspective in the mindset and how I was going to teach it. It was classroom, whiteboard, I'm up there and I'm just like, oh God, it's so cringy. And then I thought, okay, what can I do aside from that? So I thought about the workshops, which is all of my friends are telling me to do. Well, because they're all coaches and they're all like, oh, well, we do it this way. You want it. And they described this setup and I tried to copy their setup and it just vibrated so painfully against me. Like that is not my frequency. And now I understand why. It's because what they are doing is a one size fits all classroom setting for fourth perspectives, not my style. And I realized once I got into, oh, well, my niche is millennials, Gen Zs, and alpha generations, and ADHDs. I sat down and did some research, and it's focused and condensed learning with nuggets. And I went, oh my God, I can do that. So it's basically you go in and you give some highlighted points of boom, 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 boom. Now here's where you can find those answers. Have fun. Which is what Pack-a-Punch is, which is what my program Pack-a-Punch is, where I go in and it's very much a casual lounge. We sit there, we talk, and I boom, boom, boom. And it's just one day. And I love that. It's just one day, go in, and it's casual, and it's just interactive learning. It's interactive, and in the middle of it, I'll throw in meditations. I love it. I love everything about Pack-a-Punch. So I think I'm going to keep Pack-a-Punch because I think that vibrated right with me. But I want to do effective communication. I want to do free societal living. And that all feels really, really good to me. And I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with everyone signing up. And then once I get the signups done, like sign up is going to be from here to here. After the signups are complete, I'm going to announce a date and send out a communication that says, okay, we're ready to begin. Here's the time. And it's going to be like a month. So you have a month to sign up. I think that's how I'll do it. That feels good to me. That's my vibration. That is something that is something I am aligned to. So I love my pack-a-punches. But the one-on-ones, the master classes, that just doesn't, I have to vibe with the person to do that with them. I can't, and that's just it. It's energy is such a huge part of it. I really have to be part of that energy, and I can't. And that's my problem is I get the wrong energy into those types of environments, and suddenly I'm not feeling it. They're not feeling it. The vibration is off, and it doesn't stick because the vibration is off. It keeps coming back to what's your frequency? Are you being aligned to your authenticity? Authenticity is your frequency. Authenticity is your manifestation. Authenticity is your anchor, your identity, who you are in the world. It's everything. I have these lists that I do. Every time I come up with an idea, I write it on a card and I toss it on my computer. And then when I'm out of topics to talk about, I can just pick up my pack of papers and be like, all right, let's go through these. So I'm going to do it now. I just got to find the right one. I want to do groups where it's just sixth perspectives. Now that I'm definitely doing that, I'm looking forward to, where it's just sixth perspectives, sitting down, talking about Mercury retrograde and what exactly is going on when the hippocampus hooks them up to the battery. I want to do Dungeons and Dragons. I really want to do a Dungeons and Dragons group. Priority is what we manifest. We manifest our priorities. Yup. This is one I wrote down the other day and I'm like, oh yes. What we prioritize is what we manifest. So when you focus on your priority, that's actually coming from your love system. That's coming from your internal core. Your priority is what you're manifesting. Now, the thing is, if your priority is using people and you want someone to come to you so you can use them because you feel unwhole, that's your priority. Now, you might use words like, I hope this person comes back to me. But if your priority is focused on using them so you feel complete or you can feel security, that is not the right path of manifestation. What we prioritize, not the things that come out of our mouths, it's what we prioritize. So pay attention to what you prioritize. Do you prioritize the lifestyle you want? Do you prioritize the wishes and desires of other people? And that's really it. It's literally a competition of you versus them. What do you prioritize? Do you prioritize yourself or do you prioritize people? If you prioritize people, being accepted, being seen, then your authenticity is going to take a hit every time. But if you prioritize your authenticity, your ethics, your identity, and your truth, no matter what, then abundance will come to you to support that magnetism that you are pulling on. What we prioritize is what we tell the universe is what we want. Be mindful of what you prioritize. The words I don't know are gorgeous. I love the words I don't know. The words I don't know are not used nearly enough. If you're talking to somebody and somebody says, I don't know, or they have confusion, red flag, right there. Not red flag that they are a problem, red flag that you need to stand back. If another person is expressing that they don't know something or they have confusion, it is time for you to give them space. Because that is a person who has a very weakened perspective and they are in the middle of processing. I could do a whole video just on that, and I'm going to because that's a big topic. So that's coming up. The I don't know and what exactly that means, because that is overlooked so much. And that's a huge red flag for those who are ethical, who want to learn more about how to interact with the different perspectives. There is a state of vulnerability that we all experience every time that we are confused. Tampering with somebody in a state of confusion is borderline deliberate perspective abuse. So when you see somebody who's expressing, I don't know, or I'm confused, back up. Their processing for their perspective is stalled out. They're seeking closure and they're stuck in processing. And that is when they are most vulnerable. That is when they are most susceptible for abuse and persuasion. Huge, huge vulnerability that leaves them wide open for manipulation and abuse. And if you're somebody who's ethical, you don't want to touch that. I wouldn't touch that. So now when I'm talking to somebody and they express confusion, I suddenly go, okay, they're in processing. Overwhelm is very likely they're in processing. Understand the state of our mind, where we go from point A to point B. Mindset is not a state of mind. Mindset is unchanging. When you manifest, when you use positive affirmations, you're trying to change your mindset. That is your basic starting point. That's your mindset. A state of mind is what the inner workings of your subconscious mind is at that particular time. And we talked about doing casual coffee on his lounge, which I'm so totally doing. Yeah. But I think I can combine my Anna's Lounge with my Pack-a-Punch classes. I think I'm going to combine those because I really, really love the casual setting, a casual classroom. Yeah, I love casual classrooms. I learned always best. It's like a debate class. It's really like a debate setting or a discussion setting. But it's got to be the right people. And that's the other thing. I've got to have the right people in those groups. And that was when I did those before, I didn't have the right people. I had some fourth perspectives in there. And it wasn't until later that I realized, and it's fascinating to see how the different perspectives respond to different things. And sure enough, as soon as I get to the fourth perspectives, they get condescending. Fourth perspectives have mastered the art of being condescending to people who know more than them. It's extraordinary. Sixth perspectives, sevens, eights, nines, have a bad habit of being condescending to those who know less than them. In fact, all of us do. Seconds are condescending to first, thirds are condescending to seconds and first. It's our weakness. It is something we all have to work on. But fourths are condescending to people who know more than them. Kudos to them. Yup, they are condescending. And it's so funny because when I speak to somebody who is over, if I were to meet a 10th, I would be so revered by a 10th. Like, I respect your knowledge. And that's it. I would respect their knowledge. Oh my God. I would so respect their knowledge. I wouldn't want to talk to them. I would not want to meet a 10th. I would not want to discuss it because I want to find my own path. I do not want to follow. If a 10th were to tell me, I would not want to meet a 10th right now. I do not want to know the path of the 10th. I want to be able to step into this and explore it with my own feelings, raw and original for the first time. And then I would want to articulate it and put it into words and then say, these are the words I found. Maybe they'll help you. That's what I want to do. So I never want to meet a 10th. If I ever meet a 10th, I would just be like, don't ruin the surprise. That's it. I don't want the surprise ruined. I don't want the surprise ruined. To me, this is an adventure, and telling me how the adventure ends is like, no, don't do that. No, I want the adventure of discovering this on my own. So I don't think I will ever talk to a 10th. I don't think I will ever. If somebody is a 10th and they come to me and they're like, I can tell you things. No. Which I think is why I shut down people who try and give me information that I haven't studied. It's like, look, you have no idea the studies I have done. So when I hear something that's not aligning to my studies, I know you're either bringing me something that is so obsolete it's old, or you are bringing me something so extraordinary it's in my future, and I don't want spoilers. So either it's useless or you're spoiling it for me, which is why I only talk about the subjects within the perimeter of what I've discussed. They have to align with the subjects. Like, I'll talk to a physicist about physics. Absolutely. My God, I would love that. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things. I need a physicist friend. Okay, I'm going to manifest that. I want a physicist friend. I need physicists in my life. Physicists. Manifestation, because I'm a physicist. Yes. I love physicists. I talked about this yesterday. Are you a transmitter or a receiver? But I want to go back to that because I got off topic and I didn't really focus on that subject. When we communicate, this is definitely my communication class. When we communicate, we are either transmitting or we are receiving, as in we are putting the words out there or we are listening to the words. And we suck at this. We all suck at this. We don't know how to transmit effectively and we don't know how to receive with an open mind. There's like a whole thing here. So I'm going to be doing on communication, my communication classes. I'm going to be doing, are you a transmitter or a receiver? And every time you engage with someone, every time you are you are becoming the role of transmitter and receiver. The problem is when we speak to our children or our spouses, no one's agreeing on if you're going to be the transmitter or the receiver. And that's the problem. You sit down and we're going to discuss this. And everyone says, I'm going to be the transmitter. I want to be the transmitter. No, I'm the transmitter. But these words aren't being used. People just start talking and no one's receiving. And then there's frustration because there's two transmitters in the room. You can't have two transmitters in the room. The frequency bounces off of you both and then boom, you become unaligned and you're no longer on the same perspective. Boom, that's an awesome analogy. I love that. Costumes. Oh my God, costumes is a huge conversation. Costumes. This is a topic. No, this is going to be a whole podcast topic. It's costume. This is me planning my day, apparently. Yes. This is what's coming up today on Shifting Perspectives is costumes. And the shadow self. Oh, that's going to tie into my BDSM and the shadow self. Oh, that's going to be fun. Yeah, I like this. I'm planning my day with you. This is so much nicer than just doing it alone, going, what am I going to talk about today? I never, ever am at a shortage of what I'm going to talk about. Believe me, I am never at a shortage of what I'm going to talk about. My problem is organizing all the shit that I want to talk about. And what I've started doing is putting it on all these index cards. And then I throw them onto my computer and go, there you go. And then they sit there. And I realized this morning while having my coffee, morning edition, Shifting Perspectives morning edition, that I just want to go in and sort through and figure out, all right, what topics am I going to talk about today? So there you go. These are what's on my frequency. And I'm going to talk more about this. Yeah, I don't know execution plan. That's something. And I want to talk about my groups, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. Yeah. So I'm wanting to do a group where it's just the 5th perspectives. And that's business mindset. That's getting out of the patriarchy. That's severing yourself from the 4th perspective. That's something I'm going to be doing. Definitely. That's all 5th perspective focused. The next one is 6th perspectives focused. Anyone who is being hurt by Mercury retrograde, this is you. Anyone who has had the hippocampus turned on and so they're picking up the electromagnetic field, come to me. That's 6th perspective class, and I'm going to be going over self-care. I'm going to be going over how to get yourself authentically aligned so you stop being hurt by the retrograde. And that's it, is authentic alignment. Now, if you get the training you need by the time you get into the 5th perspective, you're fine. You really need authentic alignment. I love those words. You need authentic alignment as soon as you cross from 4th to 5th. You can start to feel it, and that's the difference. The shift happens between the 4th and 5th perspective. When you're at the end of the 4th perspective, you start to feel a shift. Yeah, we need to talk about this. We're going to call this, I'm going to do a whole thing today on this. So ethical or authentic alignment, and that's going to focus between the 4-5 stage and the 5-4 stage. That's when you are between the 4th and the 5th perspective and you're in a transition. And if you actually take the class that I have for that I haven't made up yet, that's going to be, but time kind of molds together in my brain, then the transition into 6 is almost non-existent. You won't have a transition into 6. You'll have a transition, but you'll be ready for the hippocampus. You'll be aligned and it'll just plug you in like a battery and you'll be like, whoa. And it's like, calm. Yep, that's the battery. All right. It's happened. And so 6 is going to get a lot of hand holding, a lot of basically emergency care. 7th perspectives, the silent, always the silent. Those are people who are in just shock factor. They're in shock factor. They might need to be left alone. I really think 7s need to be left alone in isolation. I'm going to leave it up to them. I'm going to do a class for them, but I really think 7s need to be on walkabout. So it's going to be there, maybe just a 7 support group, but they really need to be on walkabout. 3s need to be on walkabout. And I will be teaching cultivators how to teach thirds. I won't teach thirds, but cultivators can teach thirds. And I will be teaching cultivators fives how to put threes on walkabout so that they actually go through the lessons they have to learn and the third perspective. And then I've got Anna's Elite, which is going to become a huge part of the garden, is Anna's Elite. So, okay, I got it now. I got it. So I'm going to do Pack-a-Punch. Pack-a-Punch is definitely in, and that's going to be my paid classes for like $300 a day. And you can just come in, and it's a full $300, and you just sit with me and the group, and we talk about everything. So I'm going to have Pack-a-Punch. I love that. And I'm going to have my Anna's Elite. That's going to be there. And then I'm just going to do all of my classes here. That is it. I officially have a plan now, and all of it feels right. And I feel all fuzzy and warm and cozy. I don't want to do an email list anymore. I have a feeling I need to still keep an email list because I just feel like my marketers are going to be like, no, you need this. Well, then you do it. But I personally, I don't even think podcasters do. I don't even think podcasters do email lists. That's so fourth perspective. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back on that and look. I do love doing my meditation, but I don't want to just do meditation. I want to do my full meditation, journaling, like my full self-care regimen. So I will probably be doing my full self-care regimen for free. I did it one day and I loved it. And then I was trying to figure out how I was, like where I was supposed to go from there, how I was supposed to categorize it. So I'm definitely going to go back to the meditation and keep that going, but I'm going to enhance it and bring it all out. I've neglected my meditation people for the last 4 days, and they probably think I'm like, where is she? But yeah, the concept of emailing, I don't know. The emailing is just anxiety for me because it's not anxiety. It's just, I don't want to. I love anxiety. This is all anxiety is. It's when the identity says, yeah, simplify. Anxiety is when the fear system and the love system are arguing. That's it. It's when the fear system, or it's when the identity wants or doesn't want, and the fear system is afraid to do or not do. Boom, you have anxiety. You immediately have a conflict between what identity wants and what the fear system is afraid of. And the identity can be like, I don't want to do this. And the fear system says, but you have to, because if you don't, there's going to be consequences. Same thing. Boom. Now you have anxiety because you have your fear system. This is why you need a defense system, because the defense system aligns with identity. The fear system does not align with identity. So you have anxiety. But when you have a defense system, which is your control center, yeah, the defense system is your control center. Yeah. So when you have your control center up and running, your fear system is obsolete. And then anxiety ceases to exist. I have planned my day. So those are going to be my videos for the day. All right. So I am going to sign off, prepare for meditation, process, decompress, and then jump back on. And maybe eat some food. Thank you so much. And take a look at my link tree below. Yeah. That's the other thing that I need to figure out. What do I want you to do? What is your assignment? What results do you want? If you are not sure if you need awareness, read Broken. Links below. If you need closure, I have a video for that. Look below. And if you're not sure what you want, or you feel you have awareness and you feel like you have closure, you're just trying to put yourself back together again, design your journey. Take a look below. But it's outdated. I need to clean that up today. Yeah. Go ahead and design your journey. And then I will go through it with you. Yeah, I just had clarity and I went, oh, I see my path. All right, I will see you later. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.